to the exterior envelope.
Your Honor, I have another envelope. This one's an LAPD evidence envelope that bears the victim's name, Fabio Sementilli. The description is miscellaneous papers, items 168 to 173. There is a property report attached. May it and its contents be marked, please, as People's 226.
Yes.
Thank you. Detective, showing you what's been previously marked as People's 226. Do you recognize what you see there?
Yes.
And what is that?
It's a property report on the front, but evidence envelope containing, it says underwear. I don't know if there's underwear in here, but, and then miscellaneous papers and news articles.
Okay. And was this, again, one of the items that you reviewed with respect to evidence booked to this case? In this case, by Detective Byers.
Yes.
Did you work?
Josh Byers.
Yes. Did you work with Detective Byers and Detective Farrell when you were at Robbery Homicide Division for many years?
For many years, yes.
And did you meet with them and discuss with them your investigation when you retired and they took over the case as the third set of investigating officers?
Yes, graciously they did.
Yeah. Can you open this envelope and again remove the items and describe to us the items inside?
Okay, within the envelope, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 manila envelopes. Each one is corresponding to the item number that Detective Byers put on his report.
All right. Item 168.
This is miscellaneous papers.
So if we put them in order, do the actual envelopes inside range from 168 to 173?
Correct.
Okay. If we turn over the document, the property report on the exterior of the envelope, does that run through 173?
Correct.
Okay. And let's start with the first envelope, 168. Can you open that and tell us what's inside?
It's miscellaneous papers. It appears to be some sort of a letter or notes.
Okay. Handwritten in pencil?
Yes, handwritten in pencil.
And is it typical that jail mail is always written in pencil because that's what the sheriff provides?
Yes, and the paper is usually very distinct too. It's that gray paper.
Lined paper?
Gray lined paper.
Like notebook paper?
Yeah, it reminds me of the stuff I had in like kindergarten.
Okay. And this, you said it was 4 pages in length?
Yes, it's 4 pages in length.
Okay. And were these recovered from Mr. Baker's cell?
Yes, when Mr. Baker was at the North County Correctional Facility, which is in Castaic.
NCCF?
Yes.
And what date?
On August 14th, 2017 at 10 in the morning.
Okay. If you could return that to its envelope. And if you could open the next one, 169, I believe.
This is a newspaper article. I'm sorry, there's another page.
Looking at the two pieces you just handed me from 169, are these newspaper articles relating to the not guilty pleas of the defendant and Robert Baker relating to the murder of Fabio Sementilli?
Yes.
Okay. If you could return these to the envelope. And move on to 170.
This is typical what a jail mail envelope looks like, since it's been inspected by somebody at the sheriff's department.
And that's based on a stamp in red on the exterior of the envelope?
Yes, and it, see if we can see here. It definitely comes from the women's facility, because the women's facility is in Linwood, although the sender is off, but it's to Robert Baker. Okay. With his booking number. And then also what appears to be a drawing of a typical sort of cell block.
How do you know that?
It's well, number one, I've been to a county jail numerous times, and the drawing with the doors looks very similar to the jails that I visited. And then there's double cot beds, the toilet next to the cot beds, and then there's 3300, which is kind of the cell block number.
Okay. That appears to be a hand-drawn photo, hand-drawn drawing.
Yes.
This here?
Correct.
Okay. Looking at the exterior of the envelope, when we spoke earlier about booking numbers or pins, would this be the booking number for Robert Baker?
Yes, that's correct.
The address at the North County Correctional Facility?
Yes.
Coming from CRDF, Linwood Jail?
Yes.
The women's jail?
Correct.
And is that the same location you went to when you obtained the DNA reference sample from the defendant that I believe you told us you booked as item 201?
Correct.
And if we look at the letter inside, does it appear to be front and back of 2 pages? So therefore, we're talking about 4 handwritten pages in total?
Yes.
And does it start out at the top of the first page with, "How's my man"?
It does.
Okay. And if we look at page 4, in the center of this piece of paper, coded letters, OMM. Do you know what that stands for?
I don't know what the OMM stands for.
On my mind. Have you heard that before?
I have heard that.
How about LOML?
The love of my life.
100, we talked about the other letter I showed you earlier where it said 100% or 100.
Correct.
A certain time.
Correct.
Again, the phrase ride or die.
Yes.
And then the phrase, be smart and be strong, baby.
Yes.
Also, I'm in love. Nothing can break me now.
Correct.
And at the bottom, hope to hear from you too. See you tonight at 9 p.m. LYVM.
Love you very much.
Mrs. Baker.
Yes.
P.S. I miss my sake and oysters, and then that same phrase that we saw in the last letter.
Yes.
And always OMM with a heart.
Yes.
Looking at the next envelope. 171.
171, again, this is jail mail. This is to Robert Baker. It has the inspected red stamp, has his booking number, and the sender says it's Nisha Hire, H-A-Y-E-R, Nisha, N-I-S-H-I-A, at the Women's Detention Center.
Again in Linwood.
Yes.
Same location where you collected a buccal swab, reference samples from the defendant?
Yes.
Moving back for a moment to the last letter that I showed you that was 4 pages. On page 4, do you see here where it says resolute, comma, protocol?
Yes.
And beneath that, I fucking love you, babe.
Yes.
What's a protocol?
Well, I'm going to inject that speculation.
That's form sustain?
Do you know what is meant by protocol in these letters based on your review of many of them?
Sustain. There's been testimony before by the others.
All right, showing you the first document. Does this appear to be a drawing next to a letter?
Yes.
And again, is this a typical jail kite or letter?
Yes. Jail mail.
At the bottom, once again, do you see where it says here, I am as strong as ever and will not lose faith, that we will overcome and live the way we want. I love you very much. Manja, Kate, forever, Mrs. Baker.
Yes. And
On the front, do you also see, once again, on the front where the picture is, that same code, LOML with a heart?
love of my life.
Showing you another letter, 4 pages, front and backs. At the very top on page 1, you see again that phrase, LOML.
Yes.
At the bottom of page 3, do you see here where it says, don't forget our love is our bond, it's unbreakable, and then that same phrase, MUA, MB.
Yes.
What does MB stand for?
Monica Baker or Mrs. Baker.
And on the back, do you again see the same type of code, OMM?
LOML, LYVM, 9 p.m. Okay.
And at the bottom, you also see the signature again and the. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Again, on the next page, looks like there's some drawings at the top of, bless you. Looks like it says it's dated July 1st, 2017. There's some sunshine, maybe a palm tree. And then, halfway down, do you see, again, those same codes?
Yes. And I believe on the top and in the previous letter, also the I do. It was at the bottom of the previous
Yes.
one that you had. And
Just above
yes,
the Monica Baker signature.
right.
And again, at the bottom, again, that same signature for Monica Baker.
Yes.
And so would this be an example of sending jail mail, or what's referred to as kites, as we've heard, through other inmates' booking numbers to try to get around any court order that you're trying to copy mail belonging to a particular inmate's booking number by using this type of procedure?
Yes, and if had there not been a cell search on this one, that's a perfect example. We never would have found this letter because it didn't go through the traditional protocol with Monica's booking number, so it would never came in and been flagged.
So because the booking number on the top is from a booking number relating to a different inmate, this particular letter would never have been copied. However, as you said, you did a cell search on this particular day.
Correct.
Or Detective Byers did.
Correct.
Right.
There's got to be an empty envelope. 'Cause
Moving on to number
this may have been with that in that envelope.
172.
I think this was in this all together, and I just forgot to pull it out.
Okay. And it appears to be an envelope with a single page drawing. Is that right?
Yes, that's item 172.
All right. And this phrase here, synced and linked, is that a phrase that came up in jail mail as well as in conversations that were recorded in the jailhouse lockup that we'll listen to next week?
Multiple times.
And again, a drawing, and halfway down pointing to the male individual's buttocks, does it indicate property of Monica Baker?
It does.
And then on the finger, just like we saw in one of the other drawings with respect to tattoos and things like that, initials RB.
That's correct.
Okay, this is dated August 6th. Yes?
Yes.
And then at the very bottom, Payne's baby.
Yes.
I'm sorry, was that date 17, 2007?
Doesn't have a year. And the last envelope.
The last envelope is number 173. And again, it's it's an envelope. Doesn't have any markings on the outside, but it's numerous letters and papers inside. Correct.
first one indicates it's 10 pages in length, and it appears to have handwriting on both sides of the paper.
Yes.
At the bottom of the second page, on the back, do we see that same phrase, LOML?
Yes.
Mrs. Baker?
Correct?
With respect to the second set of handwritten docs, once again, we see that same phrase, but this time with the defendant's first name, Monica.
Yes.
And the back of the next page, again, those same type of codes. This one, LUVM,
Love you very much.
R or D,
Ride or die.
100, and then the name Monica Baker.
Correct.
And then multiple pages regarding handwritten letters. And at the bottom of the next page, again, on the signature line, always OMM, always Robert, I love you, 9 p.m., and then your woman always.
Correct.
And then another set of writings. Again, at the top, we are definitely synced.
Yes.
That same phrase we talked about a moment ago.
Correct.
And at the very bottom of the last page, again, always OMM, always 100 with all of my fiber, Mrs. Baker, with that same MUA.
Correct.
Okay, if you could,
Those go into this envelope and then they'll go back in.
okay, if you could return the first grouping to the exterior packaging. And Your Honor, I have another evidence envelope. There's a property report stapled to the exterior. It says in red pen, number 209 to 210. May it and its contents be marked, please, as People's 227.
Inmate.
showing you Exhibit 227. Do you recognize what you see here?
Yes, it's a LAPD evidence envelope. It actually has my name as booking it. I probably rebooked it.
Yes. And if you...
No, I booked the originals. I booked it after retrieving it from the sheriff's.
Okay. And who did you retrieve it from? The sheriff's department?
From the sheriff's department, and they had it in their evidence.
Okay. So you rebooked it from sheriff's back to LAPD property under this case number?
Correct.
Because it was evidence that was recovered by the sheriff's?
That is correct. I believe at one of the court facilities.
Here.
Yes.
And looking at the evidence envelope inside,
Yes.
does that confirm what you just said?
Yes. That one manila envelope containing several pieces of paperwork.
And does this...
Court Services Central, Bureau Central, and it's booked by D.
Schackenberg, Dustin Schackenberg?
With a serial number of 532. And it was
Okay.
booked on June 28, 2008.
18.
Yes.
Thank you. And this is evidence, again, that you recovered from the sheriff's department and then booked in under this case number?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you. And I'm going to return that sheriff's envelope into your exterior packaging, and we'll deal with that tomorrow with the sheriff's department. For a moment to People's 226, looking at the third page. About
Yes.
10 lines down, do you see where it says what I'm pointing to here?
Yes.
What does that say?
I've stuck to protocol, admitted to love affair of about a year.
Okay. Returning 173 to you, and I think this was one of the prior ones. The next thing I have is some recorded jail calls. I don't know if the court wants to start that now or if you want to break at this point, and we'll continue with that later.
As I understand it, we're going to interrupt Detective Roberts' testimony tomorrow and have other witnesses testify. Is that correct?
That's correct.
This is a good time to interrupt the testimony then.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to be in adjournment until tomorrow at 9 o'clock. The admin applies not to discuss this case among yourselves or with anyone else. A form expressing opinion to the cause is finally submitted to you. As you heard, we're going to interrupt Detective Roberts' testimony for tomorrow. So have a good evening. See you tomorrow at 9.